Welcome everyone to Team Women's Sports Foundation Dish with Pepper. My name is Pepper Persley, and some of you may know me from my time presenting the Wilma Rudolph Courage Award to the WNBA at the Women's Sports Foundation Salute to Women in Sports, or maybe you know me from co-hosting the 2021 Girls Fest. I'm excited to be working with the Women's Sports Foundation to share the stories of the amazing female athletes competing in the Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics. Joining me today is USA Women's Rugby player, 2021 Olympian, and Women's Sports Foundation Athlete Ambassador, Naya Tapper. Hi, Naya.
Hi, Pepper. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited for this interview today.
No problem. I'm super excited to have you and to be talking to you. So to start out with some questions about rugby, I want to watch your matches, but I don't know much about rugby. Can you explain the game of rugby?
Yeah, so rugby isn't as common in the US as it is in a lot of other countries. But so for people who have never heard of it before or haven't been able to watch it, I kind of describe it as a combination of soccer and football. Soccer to where it's kind of a continuous game and you can end up on attack or defense at any time. And it's kind of like football with having to run into the end zone, but for rugby, instead of just running into the end zone, you actually have to touch the ball down in order for it to count as a try, which is what they call it when we score. Also in rugby, you can only pass backwards. And we have a lot of different ways that we start the game, whether it's a kickoff or whether it's a scrum or a line out or a penalty play. We have a lot of those other little things, but overall, it's the same rules as a men's rugby team. We tackle, we don't wear any pads, we just use a mouth guard. It's super fast, super fun. I play 7, so we play 7-minute halves, and it's a 14-minute game total.
So it seems like it goes pretty fast and physical.
It does. It feels long in the moment, but when you're watching, it goes pretty fast.
All right, so when did you fall in love with rugby?
I fell in love with rugby maybe a year after being a professional rugby player. I think after that amount of time, I started to really understand how to play at the top level and also started realizing that I was influencing and inspiring younger boys and girls and even players my age to want to play rugby and to be like me. So I thought that was very crazy and something that I never expected to happen. So realizing that my actions had an impact on other people and that I could make that a positive or negative, that time that I noticed like I'm really doing something good for the world, I decided to be a positive impact. And that was when I realized that I was really in love with the sport.
I love that. So what do you enjoy most about rugby?
Let's see. I think the thing I enjoy most about rugby is the culture. Our fans are incredible. They always show up and show out whenever they're in the stands, no matter what country they're coming from. Also, it's great camaraderie between our own team and the teams that we're playing. So even if we're enemies on the field, once we step off the field, we're very respectful to each other. We're able to hang out, have a good time, have food and drinks, and talk to each other as if we're best friends. So I think that's the great thing about the rugby culture is the respect we have for our opponents.
That is really cool. So moving on to some Olympic related questions, what's the qualifying process for rugby leading up to the Olympics?
So the qualifying process, I might mess this up and make sure I'm telling you the right information, but you automatically are approved as a team to be in the Olympics based on where you lay out in your standings for the tournaments in the past 3 or 4 years. So if you're in the top 4 or 5, your team will automatically qualify. And if not, you'll just have to go through a qualifying tournament. And then for an individual player like myself, we'll have about 30 girls on the team and only about 15 girls will travel with the Olympic team. So for that form of selection, your coach kind of just bases his or her decision off of how you performed that year, how you performed that season. This year we had some scrimmages against some other teams out of the country in order for him to be able to see who he wanted to pick. And then once he selected who he wanted, we received emails either congratulating us that we were on the team or letting us know that we did not make the team.
All right, thank you. And then
No
just what does a typical day look like preparing and training for the Olympics?
A typical day for me is pretty long. We usually wake up early. I usually have to wake up around 7 o'clock in order to get up, get to the training center, have some breakfast, and get ready for our first meeting of the day. And then usually after that, we'll maybe have a speed session, and then we'll go into a gym session, and then have time for some lunch. And then after lunch, we'll probably have another meeting, and then we'll have a field session for about an hour. So we're usually doing 2 to 3 training sessions for an hour long each day. We train Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and we're there from about 8 a.m. to about 4 p.m. So it's a full day.
Wow, that is a full day. It's like rugby Olympic training summer camp, kind of.
Yeah, basically.
All right, so you touched on this a little bit, but like, what does it mean to you to be an Olympian? And was it like something you imagined when you were my age, 10?
Mm-hmm. I was talking to my friend the other day because I was actually expressing to her that the Olympics was never a dream for me growing up. It was something that I've seen and something that I watched and something that was exciting and fun to do with my family. But I never had the plans of being a professional athlete. And once I did become a professional athlete and learned that I could go to the Olympics, that's when it became my Olympic dream. Because I knew it was a rare accomplishment and something that not a lot of people could achieve. So that became a goal of mine and something that I wanted to be able to put on my resume and say, I've done this, I've accomplished one of the rarest, biggest things you can accomplish in our time on this earth. So yeah, I think that was when my Olympic dream came, probably a lot later than maybe you or other people listening to this, which is strange, but it just shows you how incredible some of us athletes are, that you don't have to have the Olympic dream as soon as you come out the womb. It could come later in the future. And I think I'm very proud of myself for making the team because, as I said, it's not easy to do this. I think the thing I'm looking forward to most is just going out there and playing as hard as I can and bringing the gold back for you guys.
I love that so much. I love that story and that message. So can you just talk about being an athlete ambassador from the Women's Sports Foundation?
Mm-hmm. I am a Women's Sports Foundation ambassador, and I wanted to be a part of this organization because I fully believe in everything that they are fighting for in terms of equality and creating opportunities for women and young girls like yourself to be able to play sports and not have anything stop them from being able to accomplish their dreams. Growing up, I did sports all my life, so I know from experience how important and positively impactful it was for me. And I want any young girl to be able to have that same experience, regardless of where they live, how much money their parents make, any of that stuff. I don't want them to have any boundaries that stop them from accomplishing their goals. So I wanted to join this organization in order to be of assistance to young girls who may be dealing with that and want to get to my level, but for whatever reason can't. So I'm super excited to be a part of this organization. They've been doing amazing things, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
That's incredible. So a little bit of a fun question for you. So your nickname, the Ultimate Finisher, which by the way, an incredible nickname, where did that come from?
I think the Ultimate Finisher probably just came from a commentator. The commentators are really funny on our streams when we play games, and they come up with probably a different name for each player every game. I would say I'm probably more known for Naya Fire, which my mom's best friend came up with that name. Back in the day, they were from New York, and they used to love to rap, and my mom's best friend would always call me Naya on Fire because it rhymes. So once I started playing rugby and realizing how fast I was at this level, that name came back in my head, and I've been using that nickname ever since.
Well, I love that nickname, and it leads perfectly right into my next question. Not into my next question. So, where did the idea of your personal brand, Naya Fire, come from?
Okay, yeah, so that's perfectly then. It came from my mom's best friend. It basically means like me being on fire, not only on the field, being able to run fast, but also off the field, just being a fiery personality. I'm a Leo and my element is fire. So I'm really feisty. I stand up for what I believe in. I'm strong minded. So that's also me being on fire off the field. For me, it's kind of a way of life of always fighting for what you believe in, being confident in yourself, and never letting anybody stop you from accomplishing your dreams.
That's incredible. And who are some of your heroes or people who inspire you?
Mm. I think one of my biggest heroes is my mom. She is a very strong, independent woman. She showed me from a young age how to get things done on your own, because sometimes that will be the situation and you need to be able to get things done without the help of others. So that was something that she taught me. And also just being a very strong individual, no matter what situation you're in. I've learned that from her. And she's always supported me in whatever sport I wanted to do, specifically rugby, where a lot of parents don't support their daughter playing a contact sport. So I appreciate and love her so much for supporting me through this journey. And she's going to be watching, so I'm super excited to have her still be a part of this journey.
That is super exciting. So, finally, last question for you. What advice do you have for young athletes who dream of being an Olympian like you?
My advice would be to play as many sports as you possibly can. Every sport has a different skill that would be great for you to have or try to learn. So I would encourage that, because I know for me, I didn't play all the sports that I look back and wish I would have played. So I would recommend play as many sports as you can. And also, if you have a sport you love, dedicate yourself to it. And if you don't, and you just don't want to do sports, that's okay too, because academics is just as important. And you
My,
can do both at the same time.
that's true. I'm doing both at
Yeah,
the same time. So you
that's
can
amazing.
absolutely do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's all for me today. Thank you so much. Good luck. Congratulations again on being an Olympian. That's incredible and so exciting. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pepper. You did a great job. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you. No problem. Good luck.
Thank you.